Hello, my pets, and welcome into The Dungeon, the podcast for submissives to learn, grow, be entertained, and to ultimately find empowerment in their life of submission. I'm your host, Kat Nash, the Music City Dominatrix, and today is a special episode because I have a guest, and I'm hoping to have guests more frequently. Please forgive the shitty sound quality on this one because I'm learning as I go. Today's guest is one whom I credit for introducing me to the world of BDSM in the first place. I mean, I'd had kinky inclinations my whole life, but didn't really understand how normal it was until I discovered BDSM and the BDSM community. Pan was a friend in my normal vanilla life, and he was open and accepting, and it wasn't something that was dark and hidden, his kink life. And it really made me analyze my thoughts surrounding it, because I'm like, he's not a creep, he's not a degenerate, and it just really made me question everything, and it started my official journey into BDSM. So I have Pan as today's guest, talking to you about his experience being a submissive. So there is personal insight and also just some fucking kinky stories, and I think you're gonna like it. All right, so I talk a lot on this podcast about what submission is and isn't, or what a submissive man is or isn't, but I would love a submissive man's perspective on this. So what does submission look like to you?
I don't know if I am a typical submissive male. To me, submission looks like pleasing my dominant. While I do have a list of kinks and a list of things that I enjoy, it is her enjoyment or amusement, her excitement. It is all about what I can do to please her, even at the expense of my own pleasure. Of course, I'll be willing to test limits and maybe not revisit a certain scene or safe word if need be. But to me, it comes from people pleasing. It comes from doing anything so that somebody else, so the dominant doesn't have to do it themselves.
So that's what I was going to ask then. Is it predominantly a kink? Is it sexual or kinky, or is there other aspects outside?
For me, it's way more than sexual, and it's way more than kinky. Yeah, I have a friend who knows that she can just tell me, "Oh, go get me this," and I will. If I get a dare, I will do it. If I get a command, whether they're my dominant or not, I have women in my life that know, like, if they tell me to do something, like, I will do it. Because
when you're doing that, though, is it kinky to you, or is it just other?
To me, it comes down to service. Service or amusing, service or entertaining, anything to make somebody smile, to make somebody laugh, to make someone pleased or pleasured.
Yeah, so I think you have what I would consider, and I talk about on this podcast, a true submissive heart, in that you find your most, and correct me if this is wrong, your most fulfillment in service to others.
Yes.
So have you struggled with boundaries then?
Oh, 1,000%. A few years ago, it was, my current partner, but when we were beginning to play together, like, before we had done anything, like, asked me point blank, "What do you want?" And that was such a mind-blowing question. Like, I don't know if I could answer it, because it was, and I don't even know, I think I veered off of the question you just asked.
It's okay.
But it wasn't it's not about what I want. Like, I want what you want. I want to see what you want, and if I can provide that. But yeah, it goes beyond kink. Boundaries. Yeah, I've had friends. It took me a while to realize I felt like taken advantage of. Hey, come pick me up and give me a ride here, or come over and do my dishes, or do laundry. But it takes me a while to get there, because I still get some enjoyment out of serving, out of even platonically, like a single mom Like, yeah, let me scoop out the cat boxes. Let me do the dishes. Let me do the laundry. Let me do whatever it is that you don't like doing just to make life easier for you.
So what then is the difference between loving to serve someone in that way and feeling like you're being taken advantage of? What are the differences? Or are there any signs that you've noticed? Or is it just a feeling that sneaks up on you?
Yeah, the feeling sneaks up. Like, I have to check in. Like, did I really enjoy that?
Okay.
You know,
Good.
am I wanting something out of it that I'm not getting?
Okay.
You check in to make sure that I'm not diluting myself into like, oh, this is feeding a story in my, or a type of relationship that doesn't exist.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So, and yeah, my working on my boundaries has been and continues to be a big thing.
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate right now in that, like all my kinks, my dominant, like those are her kinks too. Like, so like what I want is what she wants. And, it's definitely a relationship. It's not just sexual. Like we love each other. It's deep and it's based in a relationship, and it's not, not at all what it would be like if I was doing it for a stranger or somebody I wasn't attracted to.
So how did you find your dominant?
I had known her since our college days, and met up with her 7 years ago, and she was just talking about ideas she was having and things she was, beginning to explore. And when she started mentioning BDSM, I had the idea of like she would make a very interesting dominatrix, and she mentioned that she was, maybe interested in being a dominatrix. So I started sharing some of my experiences with her.
So she hadn't been until you, but she just had a bunch of kinky ideas?
She was beginning to explore. That's
okay.
And yeah, that's kind of a long, complicated history, but we found ourselves, sexually playing.
So in your case, you weren't necessarily specifically looking for a dominant,
No.
but it was somebody who was your friend who was exploring the kink world, and you guys ended up communicating and trying things out together. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then it evolved into a dom-sub relationship and so much more.
Yes. I mean, we were lovers as well as, dom-sub. Yeah, everything just kind of blossomed.
Yeah.
It was very atypical from like past doms that I've had. This was a relationship that blossomed, and the dom-sub thing was just a natural part of the sexual chemistry and the fun, things that I found fun, or any fun idea I had, like she would be like, hell yeah, let's try that.
Yeah, it seems like you guys are quite the match and have a lot of fun together. But if you don't mind talking for a minute, because I have a lot of listeners that it's their dream to find a dominant woman, and they think it's very hard. But you've talked about you've had dominance in the past. Do you have any advice or insight into that search?
First of all, do not look for a kink dispenser.
That's a big one. That's a big one.
Find out what they want. Find out, and negotiate some scenes. See what you like. See what they like. Talk about it afterwards. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little, again, possibly atypical, because most of the people who have been my dominants, they always say, okay, there's not going to be like any, sex, no penetration. It's just going to be, when I approach it, from a kink level, it was CBT, cock and ball torture, and that's what they were interested in, or cleaning or some sort of service. But after playing with me, like sex became part of it. So,
why do you think that is?
They saw my willingness to please, and they saw what I saw what I offered, and they wanted to try that, and then they kept wanting to try it.
So, how did you even approach the subject, or where did you find these people? Did you find them on dating sites? Did you find them on FetLife? Did you find them in the community?
I found one of them on FetLife. I found one of them on Craigslist way back in the day.
What?
Yeah, like looking for somebody for like CBT play, and
wow, you put an ad out.
I did. This was when this is way back in the day.
Yeah.
And
Do they even have that feature on Craigslist anymore?
I don't think
Meeting people?
No. I think they closed that down a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So
there, scroll Facebook Marketplace, people. Facebook Marketplace.
but also, it just meeting people, meeting friends of friends. I have a platonic friend that I do service for who, like, I'll be over visiting and she'll be like, "Oh, go get me this," and just look at me and smile, knowing that
You love it.
that I love it.
Yeah.
When my partner and I, because she cams a lot, and so I'm on cam with her, and it's like we'll be doing stuff, and so much of the feedback is like, "Oh, did he come? Are you gonna,
About his pleasure. Your
yeah,
pleasure.
it's all about my pleasure." And it's like, no. And that's been a journey as well. Like, I'm not going into it trying to have an orgasm or trying to, I definitely want certain types of play, but it's all about the more I learn on how to please women sexually or emotionally or mentally, spiritually, whatever, the more I realize, like, how much more there is. And it's not about what I want, because I do want to serve. I do want to help others. And as long as I'm not, I want to be used, but I don't want to feel totally used without
Reciprocated energy.
I need some level of reciprocation. Unless, of course, that could be part of a future dynamic with somebody, but that would have to be a lot of, like, self-checking in and checking in with them as well.
Okay, so what are some of your personal kinks, and how do you work them into your busy life? Because you're an adult, you got other things going on. How are you kinky and, just functioning in everyday life?
I mean, part of my kinks, I can explore on my own, in terms of bondage or enduring, having to endure, like, some level of discomfort or some level of pain or some level of nakedness or, like, self-embarrassment. In terms of playing or being kinky with a dominant, it's finding times to come over and clean, or finding, I mean, there have been people, I just get to send me a dare, especially if, like, it's snowing outside, like, face down, naked snow angel remains like one of my favorites. It's finding people willing to just, give you a dare or give you some communication, in terms of it being with a dominant. On my own, I work remotely. I'm home alone quite a bit now, so I find time to be kinky for myself. But in terms of others, it's also letting them know, at any time till further notice, they can tell me to do something, or they can dare me to do something, or they could grab me or strip me or hit me in the balls, like, out of the, randomly, whatever.
So how often do you think that you're kinky with yourself? Like, just get your kink on without someone else. And then I'm also going to ask you, how often do you meet up or do kinky things with others? Approximately.
It varies. I say that would be tied in with, like, how often that I masturbate. Sometimes I masturbate multiple times a week, and sometimes I go months without masturbating.
Is that by your own choice, or is it
it's
structured?
I mean, part of it is that, my sex life with my partner really fulfills me.
Yeah.
So I'm not necessarily going,
So it's the same with kink then.
But even when it wasn't, I get hyperfixated on things. My brain gets elsewhere. I've never been somebody who's, like, regularly masturbating, or even masturbating every month or even every 2 months, like, all year round. Like, so the same goes with kink. Just tying myself up or doing, like, ice submission, hot submission, periodically, icy hot on the balls, which I always say, "Oh, I like this," and then every single time, usually within a minute, I'm like, "Nope. Why did I do this? Nope. And I'm in the shower and trying milk, or it's but especially cleaning. Like, I enjoy naked cleaning is a kink. So, like, sometimes I'll message somebody else, but a lot of times I'm just gonna strip naked
And clean your own
and hang some shoes or some weights off of my balls or cock and balls, and yeah,
just a regular Tuesday there, huh?
and do cleaning. So it's occasionally, periodically, a couple times a year, I'll try like doing like a butt plug, but as much as like the idea of, you know, being pegged seems hot, like it's nothing but pain for me. It's not enjoyable. So I've kind of backed off from even like trying it.
So your favorite kinks then? Your top kinks?
CBT, which includes a whole lot of not just impact or stretching, twisting, temperature play, endurance, having to endure like anything for a length of time. I'm a nudist. I love, my other kinks. I mean, cleaning has become kinky to me. Cleaning excites me now, and because I've cleaned for people I was in, you know, my best friend that I was in unrequited love with. My other kinks would have to include human canvas.
Being written on?
Yeah, being written or drawn on. A lot of it is borders on like consensual non-consent, you know, public use, or, you know, being like human furniture, or being a party favor, or just being made to do something amusing or entertaining for somebody else.
That's somewhat degrading to you? Like,
yeah, I'm not into like degradation,
right?
You know, like, oh, you're worthless, you're scum. You know, I had one dom try to like say, oh, you know, your cock is so small, and I knew that wasn't the case. Like that just was like water off a duck's back. But then she switches like, oh, your balls are so small, and I'm like, really? But I mean, you know, I don't enjoy degradation. I don't enjoy pain for pain's sake. I only seem to get like the endorphin rush if it's around my cock and balls, you know, for pain. Anywhere else, I'm like, ow, that hurts. Stop it. You know?
Yeah. Gotcha.
But I am willing to see what I can endure for somebody else's pleasure.
Okay.
So yeah, being used, most of my kink centers in, just like group, the idea of other people watching, or other people could like walk in and participate, or, you know, I could be tied up and blindfolded, and then it could be anybody, male or female, coming in and doing whatever they want within my boundaries.
Gotcha.
You know, my kinks are amusement, providing entertainment, providing pleasure. It's that type of, you know, being objectified is a huge one.
Objectified. That's probably the word that I was looking for, more than degraded.
Correct.
Objectified.
Being objectified.
Yeah, I like it.
1,000%. Being degraded, no.
Yeah, gotcha. Big difference there.
Being, playfully humiliated, you know, where, oh, I have to, you know, spread my ass cheeks and maintain this position. Yes. You know, 100%, you know? Or, you know, whatever, like have my face stuffed in whatever it is, you know, whether it's a body part, or whether it's some food or whatever. Oh, and turns out I like smearing. I like sensual play. I'm very much,
smearing, as in food smears on your
food or mud, or it's not just bondage, but it's what do you call it? Predicament bondage. Can be a whole lot of fun.
Can you explain predicament bondage?
Yeah, like having to stand, you know, on tiptoe, and my balls are being stretched a certain way, where if I try to like, you know, lower myself, like it's pulling balls or cock, you know, even harder. Yeah. So it's enduring something to prevent something else from that hurts or is more uncomfortable from happening. You know, or being tied up and then teased, where like, oh, I can't physically like get erect because it's so tightly bound, and it's like, I don't know. There's all sorts of predicament bondage. I've only experienced a bit of it. One of the worst ones was this is one of my early doms, had me standing on tiptoes. I was blindfolded, and my hands were tied like really high, and I thought it was going to be icy hot, or I thought it was going to be like shaving or something, or is it like some temperature play with, but turns out she put Nair on my genitals.
Wow.
Which you do not do. Highly recommended that you do not do that. It is really bad.
What happened?
It was intense pain, and I had like a
little burn?
Yeah, a little burn from it.
On your balls? Everything?
Yes. Particularly balls.
Wow.
Yeah. But for her, that predicament bondage was, how long can you endure this? I don't know. There was something else to the scene, but that was a predicament bondage scene that went bad quickly.
Yeah.
As soon as like, wait, what is this? This is, what's going on?
How long did you have it on?
It took her a bit to untie me. You have to be really careful with predicament bondage to make sure there's like a quick release.
Yeah.
So I would say I had it on for like 3. I don't know. It was long enough that, this is really hurting. And then it was at least a minute or two beyond that before I could get like in the shower. And then like, of course, the damage was already sinking in at that point.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So the final question here is, what is the kink scene that lives rent-free in your head? What is the one that you keep going back to as like, damn, that was fucking hot?
I mean, there's quite a few. One that seemed really hot was one that I came up with on my own, and this was at the local club with my partners at the time, and including my current partner, and we were servicing her, and I had a double-ended dildo, and I was between her knees and using both hands of the dildo on her, and then I just started taking the other end in my mouth, going in her, and then in me, in her, and then in my mouth, back and forth without her asking. And it took her a minute before she even saw what I was doing, and she was like, "Oh my God, that was so hot," So in terms of stuff that I've done, that's one. Yeah, most of what plays in my head is like stuff that I haven't done.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So what's on your bucket list then? Do you have one scene that you can tell us that's you're excited for?
Submerging everything in ice isn't as bad as submerging it in a bunch of like small chunks of ice. So like a slushy or icy is like way colder than just like ice water. But repeated dunking in and out is way colder than just submerging.
And you're talking about your balls.
I'm talking about cock and balls.
Gotcha.
But mine, and while I've done that with people, mine is submersion in icy something and then submersion in hot, like so hot that you can barely stand it. And the problem is that you cannot keep a container of hot liquid at a hot temperature long enough to do it back and forth endlessly, because chunks of ice will get into hot water or whatever it is. Like the hot water cools down pretty quickly, way faster than the ice. So yeah, ice and hot repeated like dunking back and forth to see how much I could take hasn't been, because of physics, possible yet. And it's also dangerous. Like, how do you hot enough where it's uncomfortable and it's hitting that spot for me, but not. That's my other problem, is because I peed into an electrical outlet when I was 3 years old, which I think is why I'm desensitized, which is why I can endure a lot more, I say, and other people I've played with have said too, like than a typical guy. But it also means that when I save for it, it's often past the point of like physical damage. So that's the other problem is, what I want may be like past the point of what I should do. Yeah. Walking in and being like grabbed, blindfolded, stripped, and being paraded or used as for amusement for a bunch of dominatrixes would be amazing.
I mean, I feel like that's every substream.
It is. But I think it's mine because I didn't learn how to masturbate to orgasm till I was like a senior in high school. So as a teenager, like my fantasies were, a group of women like taking me and putting me in the shower and like dumping ice in my underwear until I would agree to take them off. And because I didn't know, like, I don't know. I don't know why that became my thing, but that became my thing. So a group of women dominating me and forcing temperature play on me until I could submit and to be used for sexual purposes. And I didn't even understand, had no experience of what those sexual purposes.
Yeah.
So I think that early fantasy, when I couldn't orgasm, just kind of like
grew.
Became like, part of it is like a core behind a lot of my kinks. Being used, being dominated, having to endure stuff, and then finally giving in and having to sexually please.
I mean, that's hot though.
I do want to say, while naked cleaning is a thing, like I say platonic friend, but she allows me to naked clean. And I've had other people like naked clean, but they just put me in the bathroom and they're not even seeing me naked. Like, that's not enjoyable,
So it's not service for service's sake. That's the reciprocation that you need, though, as a reciprocated energy in order for it to be pleasing to you. So you're not a completely selfless.
Well, I'll do it a couple of times, but not like repeatedly. Yeah, I do check in to see what I'm getting out of it. But, if I'm attracted to them, like, let me come over and do your dishes. I don't have to be naked, let me come fucking help. I do get pleasure out of that. And it feeds the same thing that the kink feeds of
the submissive heart.
The submissive heart.
Well, thank you, Pan, for being our guest on the show today. As for my listeners, thank you again for joining me this week. I hope you got something out of this episode. I would love to hear your feedback. You can email me at thewildcreatrix@gmail.com or check out my offerings and find my links on my website, which is www.kat-nash.com, KatNash.com. I look forward to seeing you here next week. And as always, stay kinky, my pets.